Dawson's Rentals.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with some more Kamen Rider Gotchard news. So the press photos for all of the toys are starting to roll out. Obviously, I've shown you in previous videos, we got a look at the belt and the holder set and all that stuff, but now we have more stuff that's coming out as the listings are starting to hit for pre-order. Obviously, we have his Gotchard Gun, which comes with 3 different cards, and it can read the cards for various attacks, which is really neat. I'm gonna hopefully assume that would be neat if they all had, you know, it has a full-on reader just like the belt, so that like as you collect the cards, not only unlocking like new sounds every time for your belt, you can unlock new ones for the gun. I think that'd be pretty cool. And obviously, I'm really happy that they all come with cards. I wasn't expecting them not to, but when they first, like, when the rumor first came out that we were getting card packs, I was slightly worried that it was gonna be like they were gonna put certain like main cards behind having to get packs, which is kind of a smart marketing thing. But I'm glad that it's kind of a mix of both. So if you just kind of want the base experience, you don't have to collect all the packs or, you know, even any packs. I'm sure there will probably be, or at least maybe be, some cards that are kind of locked behind having to get the packs. I mean, obviously there will be, but there might be some main ones, but I'm glad this at least comes with that. Also, we have the gear for our rival rider guy. What I thought was his driver is actually just a holder. It's called the Valvara Draw Holder, which holds his cards, and it also comes with some cards itself, as, you know, you'd expect with these. Sometimes there's been weird series in the past where they have, like, errant weapons that don't come with the gimmick, and those usually end up on HLJ clearance. But everything we have seen so far comes with cards, except for the figures, I think. And then the Valva Rusher, which is his main weapon, and it also scans cards, and I think it's his henshin device as well. And that actually looks pretty cool. I actually really dig that. I think it's really unique looking, and it's got some cool looking different modes. But probably the biggest headline, at least for me, is the return of Sochaku Henshin. I mean, as expected, we get to look at our gimmick figure of the year, as they usually release the main rider and sometimes a couple others with a basic figure that usually has some sort of gimmick based around how the forms change. You know, in this case, we have one that shows off 3 different main forms, the main form, and then the red other form we've been seeing in the various promotions I've been talking about this last week, and then look at another new form. You know, we saw all the forms, helmets in the driver commercial, but we actually get to see another look at a form. It's, again, really good looking suits this year. I'm really digging the hell out of these suits. I think they look really great, but I mean, in general, it's just a name, and this is pretty much par for the course of the type of figures we get for this, but I think it's cool they're bringing it back as Sochaku Henshin. If you remember, this back in my day, I feel like such an old fandom toku fogey, but like I remember, like, Sochaku Henshins were like, at least in my mind's eye, like the main figures back before figure arts happened. Like when I first got into Rider and started collecting, figure arts were just coming out. Like it was just Kabuto and Kuga and I think a couple others, I think like the first and the next Riders or whatever, and it was basically just, other than that, it was like the Sochaku Henshin figures and SICs. And so my collection actually started with a bunch of Den-O Sochaku Henshins and Kiva ones, which in my opinion hold up. Some of the older ones don't, and then obviously figure arts look a lot better, but for what they are, they're pretty damn good looking figures. Kind of similar to these type of figures where it's not going to be as accurate or detailed as a figure art, but it looks more toy-like, but it's still pretty good. I actually think the Kiva ones hold up pretty well, and they were kind of all about putting the armor on them and stuff like that, and they had a real nice hefty metal feel, which was just really nice. Like I remember having nostalgia for that, getting my first Den-O ones and Kiva ones where it just felt like it was like money well spent, because also when I first started importing, that's why I talk a lot about the feel of toys when you get them, of like, yeah, you know, I spent the money to import this, but it feels worth it. So I don't know, it's just kind of nostalgic to bring that back. I will probably pick that up as well, as I always pick up the basic figure. I haven't had, I mean, in addition to stopping covering Rider, but I haven't had much incentive to pick up like all the releases for the figures though, because most of them lately have been like premium Bandai. Like I think Geats only released his main figure, and then the rest were premium Bandai, which I feel defeats the purpose of these, because the reason I like these, same reason I like the basic figures for like King Oger and Don Brothers, is it gives you an opportunity to have just a basic figure at a reasonable price if you don't want the figure art or to shell the money out, or, you know, you're impatient. And then in particular, obviously with Sentai, because we're not doing Sentai anymore with Power Rangers, it's nice to get a basic figure. But just regardless, it's like kind of nice, and you're never going to get all the forms, or even some that will always be figure arts exclusive, but it was kind of nice to be able to get a solid handful of the Riders. Like in Gaim, you could get almost everybody, and they only had a handful of premium ones. And so, like, when I was on a Geats kick when I was catching up, I was like, oh, you know, there's a couple figure arts I want to get, but maybe I'll look into the gimmick figures. But then they were, like, all premium. I'm like, well, I might as well just wait for the figure art. Interesting that there's so many, like, forms from all these series I've been catching up on I want figure arts of, and they don't have yet. Like, there's a bunch for Geats, obviously, understandably, aren't out yet. But, like, for Revice, there's a bunch. Like there's no Veil figure. or Descend or whatever his name is. But to be fair, there's like stuff they still haven't done from like a while ago. Like, where's my Sin Spectre figure? That form was awesome, unless that did come out, but I haven't seen anything about it. Anyway, the last minute of this video turned into me talking about release schedules and nostalgia. Bottom line is, everything looks pretty good. I'm getting pretty stoked for Gotchard. I have pre-ordered the belt. I did cave because I'm getting caught up on the hype and I like the way the sounds look, so I will be covering that. Like I mentioned, I probably will be getting the figure. That'll probably not put on any sort of priority shipping or anything like that, so don't expect that like as a rush review. I'm holding off on the other stuff, especially like even though I was tempted by our rival writers stuff, I'm holding off on it just because I want to see how I like the show and the merch. And I'm like worried slightly because I'm pretty excited for the show, but also, like I said, I'm nervous about like the Decade stuff, and I'm worried it's going to press the buttons of stuff I don't like about Toku. And so I'm worried I'm going to like buy all this stuff and then end up not liking the show. But I think the main belt is a safe bet. But what are you guys picking up from the Geats line, or Geats line? What did you pick up from the Geats line? No, but what are you picking up for the Gotchard line? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.